Hey darlings, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for being here. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys how I made this skirt. There are many techniques to make this, but in today's video, you're going to see how I made mine. Previously, I showed you guys how I made this particular skirt. It's a little bit different from the technique I'm going to be applying today for this particular video. If you want to learn how to make this one, you check the description box below for the link. So if you want to learn how to make this, make sure you watch to the end. So guys, I started off with cutting out the front piece and back piece of my basic skirt. And what you have to determine on your own is the length which you want your skirt to be. It could be long, midi, or short. Then make sure you mark in your seam allowance, the hemming allowance, indicate the midpoint of your skirt. Then also add seam allowance to your skirt while cutting out. So after doing this, we're going to go over to the next level. Now the next thing I did was to cut out strips of fabric, and the width of this fabric I cut out was 5.5 inch, and after cutting it out, I folded it into two, gave it a stitch at the top layer, and after doing that, this is what I have, something like this. So some people cut on bias, but I hadn't enough fabric to try that. If you have tried cutting on bias for this particular scale, please let me know about the effect on the comment section below. Thank you. Now to start off, the first thing I did was to measure 5 inches from the waistline, just to make sure that both strips are starting on the same lane. So I marked 5 inches right there, and across the other side of the skirt, I'm going to equally mark 5 inches as well. Also know that this 5 inches is not standard. It is just something I cooked up that worked for me. So right here, while placing the first strip, I'm going to use it as an identification line to know where my first strip will start from, like this. I'm going to tilt my strip to fall onto this point and at the waistline area, like this. So after placing it, I'm going to go over and pin it up. Now the next plate is going to come under the last one I made, and that is how it's going to be. Each one you place, the next one is going to come underneath it. So right here, you place the rough edges, make sure the rough edges are going upwards, and then I'm going to slip it under the last one I made, and then align it to the 5 inches I made at the side seam area and pin it up as well. Now before I place my next strip, I made a 1 inch mark from the rough edges right here. I marked out 1 inch like this, and it's going to serve as an indication line while placing my next strip. So now I'm going to place it under the last one I placed, which is the black one. So I'm slipping this under it, and while doing that, I'm going to lift the previous one up on the same lane like this, and I'm going to slip in this 1 inch under the one on top so that it will be covered. That 1 inch is my seam allowance. Okay, so as you can see what it does. If you mark this 1 inch, it will ensure that your strips are almost the same size, if not all at the same size. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to stitch from this point to this point, but not yet. Okay, so I make sure I arrange like 3 steps, and I sew 2, leaving 1 open for slipping in the next strip of fabric. So in case you didn't get me the first time, I don't rush stitching my strip of fabric that I pinned up. What I do is to arrange like 4 steps or more, and I make sure I sew and leave the last arranged step open unsewn, so that I'll have space to slip in the next strip of fabric. So that's what I do. Arrange 3, sew 2, arrange 4, sew 3, leave 1 open, the last one open to slip in the next fabric. So it will make it much easier for you, like that. So now the next one I placed, I made sure I marked the 1 inch seam allowance right here. Now to slip this in, I told you it's going to go under the last one I did, which I'm now slipping in my next fabric under it, and I'm equally going to make sure that my 1 inch seam allowance is slipped under the upper layer. Then when I take this up, I'm going to drag the one I just slipped in now to make sure it passes this one. Okay, this is to make sure that while sewing it, it will catch in on even the upper rough area of your strip to keep everything tidy while sewing. So this is how I arrange mine. And also note that while sewing, you're going to sew 1/2 inch above the 1 inch seam allowance you mark on each and every strip of fabric you're going to slip in. So now this is going to go over under the last one, then lift up the last layer and then slip it in. As easy as ABC. Okay, so you do this all the way to the end. As I told you, I'll arrange like 3 steps or 4. I arrange like 4 and sew 3, leaving the last open so that it can enable me to slip in my next strip of fabric under it. So you may try the same technique. So this is it. This is how to arrange it. Then this is how I did it all the way till I get to the last mark. So guys, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please click the subscribe button below, turn on your notification bell, and also let me know what you think about this project on the comment section below. If you have tried it on bias, cutting the strips on bias, if you have tried it with another method and it still turned out right, please let me know how you did it on the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions too, please let me know on the comment section below. And if you try this project and it worked out for you, you can kindly send me a picture of it on Instagram. I'm going to leave my Instagram handle on the description box below. So far so good. Now I've completed my strip. I'm going to show you guys how to knitting up the upper part of this skirt, this area right here. I'm going to show you how to knitting this up. Now I'm going to measure down 1 inch from the rough area of my first strip as I did for the other ones. Next, I'm going to place a piece of fabric on it, right side to each other. Then I'm going to follow the indication mark I marked and sew it up to the side seam. So after sewing it, you should have something like this. So right now, the next thing you're going to do right here after sewing this is to flip this over like this. As you can see, you have a clean edge, and the first strip of fabric now is similar in size to the other ones. So now I flip this over to the wrong side of my skirt. You can pin it up before cutting out. I'm going to follow the waistline area and the side seam area and cut off the excess fabric. So guys, if you're enjoying this tutorial so far, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And you can as well tell me which of the projects you prefer, this current one or the previous one I did, which is the picture on the screen right here. As for me, I enjoyed making both. I love both, but applying each and every one of them depends on what I want to achieve in every design. So it all depends on you. So this is what the finished look is going to be like, and I'm going to repeat the same process at this point. So right here, you equally measure at 1 inch from the rough area of your first strip of fabric. Mark it up all the way to the waistline, as you can see. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is to place a piece of fabric there, just as I did at the other side of my skirt. So I'm simply going to place it like this, right side to each other, and then I'm going to follow the indication line and sew it up to the end. So now after sewing it, I'm going to flip this over like this, just as we did for the other side of our skirt. Then I'm going to turn it over to the wrong side of my skirt. Then I'm going to follow the waistline area and the side seam, and I'm going to cut this out. Okay, you can pin this up before cutting. So guys, I'm really enjoying making this project, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. It's a very beautiful experience and I really appreciate it. And I know that the next one I will make will look better than this first one I'm making right here. And then I'm thinking of applying the same method or a similar technique to make something like a dress, or apply it to the back side of a dress, or use it to make a sleeve design. So guys, I will equally let you know when I do that. So this is what the end result look like. And the next thing you're going to do is to sew up the side seam, leaving the last strip off. Then you pin it up and sew your hemline before you finish the strip. Then sew the back side of your skirt and your skirt is ready. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and also check out this video on how to make this particular skirt, which I really enjoyed very well. See you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.